Williams broadcast live ne Williams nkwaniriza bwe kunegattako mu kiseera kino na wonna wosinzira okutugoberera bwe bale nnyo bwe ddala. Waliwo issue ennene ng'eyolekedde national platform. Ensonga esooka y'eyokuba nti omukulu Medard Ssegona alina bwe yasinziira n'agamba nti ekisanja ekya constitution ssemateeka kya national platform ekisooka n'ekyokubiri bya His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu bwe biggwako ye mweteefuteefu okujja okwesimbawo. Of course awo boosuubira feedback, the reverb, the echo okuva mu bantu ab'enjawulo ab'ebibiina ebyobufuzi ebirala ne ab'ekibiina ekya national platform n'abawagizi ba people power in general. Ekisinga okwewunyisa nti story eno bwe yajja yasooka n'erabakanga story y'ekisaazisaazi naye nga tosobola gitwala ng'ey'ekisaazisaazi mu nsonga ez'ebyobufuzi naddala wa bwe yayogererwa otandika ogikubamu torch okutunula why now. Honorable Medard Ssegona, with all due respect, why would he come and show aspirations and show intentions and show the panting, the desire, the urge to stand as the national platform president? Another person will tell you it is the earlier the better. Kirinde Kigweyo yakwata omukira n'akwefumu kumbe ekisolo kyagenze dda. Agoberera Williams broadcast live. Story eyo nenda niko okuwulira feedback kuva mu bantu ab'enjawulo, ne mpulira ab'ebibiina ebirala ab'NRM, ne mpulira DP, ne mpulira FDT, naye ne mpulira mu inbox z'abantu ab'enjawulo okuwulira boki kye balowooza nga eno egenda kubeera enkola egenda okulambulula ssemateeka ne demokrasiya bw'atojjedde mu national platform. Nga sinagenda awo kina biri endala gy'ojja okukolera gwagoberera Williams broadcast okulaga okusoomoozebwa national platform kweyina naddala ku constitution yaayo okuba nti bweba teri approved. Kinajjukira ng'ekyali NURP waaliwo gye baalina n'enkola gye baalina. Kyagulanyi ne ttiimu bwe bajja ne bagifuula national platform ne baleeta ne umbrella endorsements zonna ne launch mwagiraba. Ebiseera ebisinga okufaananako luli actually si ebiseera ebisinga guno gwe mulundi omulala ng'era tuwulira ttiimu ya Kibalama evaayo egamba nti bano operatinga ebweru w'amateeka era ku mulundi guli bagamba nti byonna baali babikola nga tebayise delegates conference n'ebirala, ne ku mulundi guno bagamba nti operatinga nga tebalina constitution kyokka nga constitution bwe bagiwandiise egaanye okuyisibwa. Ebisingako awo tujja bifuna naye katudde wano ku Honorable Medard Ssegona. Honorable Medard Ssegona ye akugamba nja kwesimbawo nga omukulembeze wa national platform, but again the debate is at the table, on the table of why now. Remember, I have students in books. Ebiseera ebisinga nze ebintu ebimu mbyeyigiriza nzekka, ebimu ne byenjogera mba siri mukugu nnyo bya bufuzi, ne bwe mbadde mu music eyo neteerawo theories zange. Of course, I read books, I'll take time to watch documentaries, but I'll create, orchestrate some theories. And at this particular time, I have a narrative. A theory of there is a total difference for a political party. When a political party is in normal circumstances, the way they operate is different from a political party that is operating with an intention to remove a regime. Kikyengezako kutegeeza nti nkimanyi ne bana byabufuzi bakimanyi naye ku research omutono gwenkoze kusoma okutono kwensomye ne birala byonna byendabye kizibu nnyo okukolera n'okukozesa n'okugoberera demokrasiya mu ngeri y'emu ku muntu ali mu biseera ebya bulijjo, normal circumstances, normal times eziriwa nti oyina Chama cha Mapinduzi their operation naye beewabwe balonda ne bajja ono president navako ono naddako ono navako ono naddako n'ogenda bano aba ewaaba Malema yono Julius Malema omulundi omulala United Kingdom egamba mbu ya process ya paperwork yaluddewo era yalemeseddwa okugenda mu United Kingdom era nga bo bagamba waliwo ebiwandiiko ebyafulumye nga United Kingdom abamu bagamba nti kasita yagamba yawulikika nga awagira Hamas kyasinziddwa okwo kuba nti ne ku mulundi guno teyasobodde kukkirizibwa kugenda mu United Kingdom. Naye mbadde nkulaga nti ebibiina ebiri ewaba malema wadde nabo balina issues to do with democracy here and there, corruption here and there. Naye the way they operate is totally different from a person who is operating in Uganda, where every now and then they are like, we want to remove a dictator, and who they call a dictator has been a president for 40 years, 35, how many years? Depending on where you started counting, from the Bush or even from the time when it was still a Minister of Defense in other governments or in one of the governments, that he came to post to remove. When he removed several governments, bateekawo Muwanga, Lule, Binaisa, until ye bwe yajja ne UPM ate okuyingira NRA. Point yange gye driving yeno. Oba oyina abantu abali mu bibiina by'obufuzi, for example mu Uganda, nga bagamba they are removing Jajja Yoweri Kaguta Museveni with all the objectives and values and mission and visions of removing him. The way you operate is totally different from a person who is in the US. Political parties cannot operate the way US political parties operate because balibo baina their system flow of Bush Senior, Bush Junior, Bill Clinton, Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Donald Trump. Kati bring it your operating, babeerayo ne reluctance, I should say, or operating at ease, not at tension. Wagam at ease, at tension. Not operating at tension, but at ease. The way they operate, bajja kuba balina ebintu byasobola okukkiriza. So, kiki ebadde njagala okukulaga okwongera okutegeeza gwali ku Williams Broadcast Live. Kyekyokuba nti nga bwe nkunnyonnyola ekya Honorable Merad Sseggona, njagala gwangoberera okitegeere nti ebyobufuzi ebitambula mu ggwanga erya Uganda, tegeera mu operating in normal times of let democracy be at play, or you're in times of at this time let us maintain the status quo in regards to who leads what section of soldiers until further notice, and then further notice until the dictator is gone. Moroko luntegeera bulungi nnyo. Yes, kakati kubira mukama engalo ez'amaanyi. Agoberera Williams Broadcast natandika okuwa feedback about abantu bwe ne balowooza ki, especially my reporters on the Williams Broadcast. First one is Nasolo. Nasolo is like tosobola kujja Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Nasolo ali mu health sector, muntu wa buvunaanyizibwa, is one of the person who gives me feedback, will give you a tip of news here and there. So be bamu ku benzijjako tips, ajja n'akugamba nze sikkiriza muntu yenna alowooza okujjako Robert Kyagulanyi obukulembeze obwa National Platform kubanga tetwesiga bajja. And I'm like, hey Shamim, how are you? Are you okay? Are you on the operation floor, or we can talk? Oh, okay, we can talk. If it doesn't take beyond 5 minutes, okay? I want to pick your opinion about Honorable Segbona's interest in becoming the next president of the National Platform, especially after the 2 terms of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. She's like, no, it is not a bad thing. He's a good legislature, he's a good rule of law advocate, he's a good person who has done a lot for the party, especially when we have had issues with the group of Chibarama. But at this particular time, I don't think it is a good decision, if taken by the National Platform, to put Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu in the name of practicing democracy, to put another person, and especially when we cannot trust that person who's coming, because we have had examples of people we have trusted and they have put all way. At the Williams Broadcast, I am like, okay, thank you very much. Monica, how are you? Are you on the operation floor, or you're fine for me to have some 5 minutes of your time to talk? And I have a story that is running about Merad Sseggona has interest to become the next National Platform president, after Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu's 2 terms. Monica is like, you know, Mwanyinaze, it is not a bad thing, but I cannot support it, because the moment you say Chagulanyi gets aside, many followers, supporters, people who have been inspired, people have been motivated by his enthusiasm, might get off the hook. And I'm like, Monica, wait a minute. Are people in the national platform and people power because of Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu? Yes, because before Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu, you had not seen youth pouring themselves. And I'm like, Monica, we saw the Kadogos in 1981. Like, that was a different issue. Those ones were persuaded, they were enticed, and the circumstances under which they joined the army or Yoweri Kaguta Museveni are totally different from these ones where youth multitudes are joining Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu to fight the dictator. Because therefore, I am not in support of whoever says Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu after the 2 terms. He should get on the side and other people, and it brings the other constant fear of Monica, of Nasoro and Shamim, of we cannot trust many people at least, because we have trusted at least some and they have betrayed us continuously. And undeniably, of course, at some point, I conquer with their fears of, at this particular time, if I were a person, a focal person, fountain of the Electoral Commission, or a fountain or a hatch or a cardinal of the law and democracy in the national platform, would I have the muscle to say that Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu get on the side and let's have another person? It really depends. After the screening and the analysis, screening and scanning the person who is coming, because definitely you're supposed to practice democracy, but I've given you 2 scenarios where you have normal times of, we are in normal times, their circumstances are at peace, and we are practicing, there is democracy being practiced already, we are able to do stuff democratically there, it is fine. You can have different presidential human beings, but let us first ask questions before we go into Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu. Let us look at the political parties we have in Uganda. Since I left seminary, since I left St. John Bosco Seminary, since I left St. Christo Primary School, Buyinja Butore, our head of Zibukumi, and the more and the poor Chibuye, the leader of the, actually, if the political party dispensation came when I had left already, Moland Po already, and St. Christo, Buyinja Butore, political party's dispensation came. But since then, I've not seen another political leader of the NRA. At least the Secretary Generals have changed from Mama Mbabazi to Kasule Lumumba to the next one who is in a chair now. But there has been a constant button pressed in the play. That is Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and has been a sole candidate. Of course, another person might come up and be like, and that is the bad practices of democracy we are talking about. You cannot have a leader of a political party for all that long. And we have had the Anitis and many NRM people, members, delegates, saying that once you have the winning combination, and the combination is always geared and led by a top scorer, and Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is that top scorer, why would you change the combination? Actually, even when you're willing or agitated to change the combination, why are you touching the person that is inspiring the winning combination? Hey, okay, CP, Ken Chams, Honorable Dandy Sali with his. Recently we had Mugisha Muntu, at least, who have the only political party that we have seen some democracy, because they also have issues, is the FDC. Why issues? Remember the days when they were metamorphosizing, trying to progress from Dr. Kano Kizza Besigye to Mugisha Muntu. There was a crash, there was friction, there was a havoc. Actually, even when if you can remember now, those are the days we had statements like, you're a mole, and the mole, or the alleged mole, Mugisha Muntu, was like, at the right time, he said, he emphasized that time, at the right time, we get to know who a mole is. There was a time when they were bringing in Amuriat. So that's why I'm saying they had issues, even when they were able to change political leaders from Muntu to Amuriat. It is sick, but at least we were able to kakao. Awuliriza Williams broadcast live. Other political parties, of course, yes, yeah. At the national platform, with my opinion. Do you want to practice democracy in regards to changing or swapping leaders of the national platform, considering the fact that you're in normal times, or you want to practice democracy to be an example that even when you are still in a battlefield, we are able to practice democracy, delegates conference, where you had constant players like the Secretary General remained, and the spokesperson Joel Senyoy remained, the vice spokesperson Mufumbiro remained. Only the Sabakuns became the personnel responsible for internal affairs. Williams, what should we do now? It depends on who comes. It depends really on who comes. William, another question is, can a reverend father, a sheikh, come and champion the drive of removing a dictator? No. 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 There are times for example, when it comes to communication, father nebwaba inenni ekomawa nebwaba mwawule nga ina imani ekomawa when it bilyaba binsinga, when it comes to here, playing with the microphone, playing with the lens, bamusingawo Kyagulanyi center mu ne drive yaabwe ey'ekibuli olina okufunayo saaba buli yabajja ayingirawo. I'm telling you, that's why you have seen even people like David Lewis Lubongoya evolving from a laid-back person suited or a suited law advocate to a rubber-dub advocate. Kubanga enkola yammwe aba national platform and people power muli ba on the move nekintu kyabwe kya let me tell you, when Judge Yoweri Kaguta Museveni came with intentions of removing Obote, he had a style different from the one of Nkwanga and Kaida. They had different play approaches. That's why one time I told you a story about when Kaida yali kulumba na Chibuli, and Museveni was like, let us go organically, gradually, kamukambugwe muganda kwa tempora undi yatuuka ku kibuga. Different approaches. Kati nga bw'okwata Kayiira n'omuganda gw'okulembera NRA ajja bakozesa ensobi kuba babadde balina kye bamanyiridde. Mukwanga kulembera Kayiira nga kijja kugaana. Kyova olaba waaliwo kano akantu ak'okusika Kayiira n'enkwanga mu ddeeri, naye bwe mumpe human resource wammwe nze muteeke mu NRA muyigirize ekyokukola. Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu National Platform baba beetaaga omuntu. Kati democracy wammwe nkyamutadde wano, baba beetaaga omuntu astudinze your roadmap, the history, someone that can take thorough analysis, thorough review of where you, the national platform and people power have come. Then the SWOT analysis of what have been the weaknesses. What are the opportunities you have missed? What are the threats you have failed to attack and the threats ended with eating you up? SWOT analysis. Then omuntu ono wetuva wana asobola otuongerayo wetulaba nsobola okuplayinga far ahead of Kyagulanyi is this. Let us look around. Who is that person? Who is that person? Who? Of course, someone has intentions already. That is that said, no. William, can you? I wouldn't want to blackmail or play malice games here, but of course, with due respect when it comes to Mateka, Honorable Sedona is the best because Abalazeko, Asena Bakolan, Yamugenda, Nato Benachibalama. Championing your drive to remove your Welcome 7 might be good. Muchemba ya Mateka. Okujja konga mu overturning your approaches, your vision and the mission and the objectives and values. Nemuchuka. Nemudda mu something complacent kwe kusula yo banagamba mu kintu ekyekigayavu okubeera ng'oli and the moyo gye mubeera bwe muti jajja aba balina. However, even Honorable Medard Segona and the likes basobola okukyuka ate ne bafuuka ekirobado. The question is, the time you have been with them, how have they been moving? Babadde bali at pa nga batambula okusinziira ku nammwe bwe mutambula. Bwe baba babadde kibuzo kyensembyayo, is it the right time? Can you even dare again Yoweri Kaguta Museveni nga mukyusiza person? Because you have a challenge. Anyone who can be bought up. Anyone at this particular time can be bought up. Awuliza Bro Williams broadcast live masa wonja kutandika okubawa ebintu ebikwata ku nsi yonna. I'll tell you stories about nini abadde agala mbabuulire ku lutalo lwa Syria, Iran, Israel, Iran. I'll tell you some stories and profiles of African countries tugaziwemuko tuve about NRM, FDC, no, I want to go through a little bit of 360 degrees of giving you content. But today what I came with is my opinion is that how do you alter, how do you swap, how do you switch your players, and which players for that God's sake? Just imagine Real Madrid and Barcelona at finals or in the finals. Just imagine Egypt and Nigeria or Ghana or Cameroon during an African Cup of Nations finals, and you want to switch. It is difficult, in my opinion, for a captain to propose to the coach unless if Mo Salah has issues with the muscles, tissues, and etc. To alter Mo Salah with that kulebera di left yeje ayineyo yatukuba goal emutwali mu Africa Cup wa mwaka kyo babirira mweka katukuba left yaje kubira mu Liverpool noga mu mwana atusse. There are people even in England obadde olabanga basamba Euro nga basamba ba Sterling yabo ng'otunulira Bufalansa eri bangoloka nga there are people so nompira bekubeera nti there are people nga goalkeeper chovola goalkeeper bamulonda decisively, intentionally, with intentions. Bamulonda bagamba nti oyo ye goalkeeper. And let me tell you, the last thing is, one time, God willing, I'll tell you, give you 5 types of democracy. Democracy, democracy. People practice different types of democracy. America ina wanjawulo, Bungereza ina wanjawulo, Abafirika kumwina bwe mwerimba naye, Russia ina wanjawulo, China ina bwe ina nga mulala, Buyinde wa Narendra Modi bayina mulala, amawanga Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Senegal bayina mulala. South Africa balina mulala ekigambo sigala democracy mu political science owa senior 1 kitegeeza bo batuwa obulimba bwabwe, but democracy otandika okutuuka, for example, singa ofuna omukisa n'oyingira mu bisenge ebiri mu White House e Washington DC, oba n'oyingira wa Netanyahu, n'oyingirako ewa Vladimir Putin, n'oyingirako ewa Narendra Modi India prime minister waabwe, ne bakuyingizaako mu kasenge akasembayo nga kagenda okusalawo ssente eza Bungereza omutwe gwa King gugendeko, n'oyingira mu busenge gye basalirawo ogamba nti kakati tugenda ku night, tugenda kulonda Beckham nga sa nenkuyingizako mu Bulange Mmengo basalawo batya Misa Kisamakula afuuke sa. Ekika kya demokrasi ekibeerayo kiba kirala. Definitely will tell you nti bwe tuba tulonda ekigenda okubaawo kiba bwe kiti, bwe tuba tusalawo kiba kirala. For example, you cannot say Botswana and Algeria nti balina demokrasi afaanana na Namibia ne Angola. It cannot happen because Botswana ne Algeria balina free education and abaana babasasula nga basoma babawa facilitation. Algeria okuva ku elementary paka ku university waggulu ograduating nga tonafuna mulimu bakusasula nga tokola bakuliyambako n'okunoonya. Kati democracy agenda okukola eyo agenda kuba mulalanye from what you do in Uganda. Kankusembereza ekintu kyo. Democracy asalawo president yaddako ow'ekibiina si ogwo gw'omanyi owa YouTube. Singa mbadde nze nabeerabizza nga nze nsalawo Kyagulanyi simukyusa kati Peter Mukasa ogenda kuŋŋamba mwana gwe oli student wange w'ebyobufuzi mbeerawo ne nkumalirako obudde ogambye Kyagulanyi takyuka naye gwe nkukolere ki? Okitiibwa Dani Muliika ndi student wo sina kyakukola mukitiibwa Mwanya Mulise Mwogerere nze bwintu bwe ŋŋambye. Yes, I cannot because ebyafaayo bye birina okunyamba ku Kyagulanyi can only be kukyusibwa nga nfunye fine piece ya person who beats Kyagulanyi in the game nenga akali Kyagulanyi jadda wano mu administration okujjako era tusobola okuzanya democracy omulala owa puppeting. Okimanya ekyo? Puppeting is okufuna Shamim ne muteekawo nga secretary general naye nga Nasolo ye secretary general, Kole Berarika ne muteekawo nga ye chairman wa board eya Williams Broadcast and Williams Podcast Live, naye nga chairman wa board ye Charles Ojja Musoke California. It is called the science and psychology of society and the industry. Nandaze nnyo kanzireyo kaboozi byoniyoni wange njibawadde at this particular time oba olina okumpa ensonga nyingi nnyo lwaki Kyagulanyi akyuka. Kababe b'NRM nabo sobola bawa amagezi okukyusa Museveni. DP bali mu Slumberland balina issues bo balina issues zaabwe sina na magezi gembawa. FDC sina magezi gembawa. Aba CP sina kyembawa. Aba ANT bakyali on the right track because ANT bagyeko mugisha muntu. In democracy ow'ekiyaaye ow'enkuubo owa behind the trees there are people batazanyirako amapeesa nga bolaba strategically Joel Osenyira nsigadde nga ye mwogezi nono n'asigalawo andi mbawagira bagende beesimbewo because worst case scenario, just in case the dictator doesn't accept you to go, you need more authority bargaining power. The only bargaining power that you can get is when you have many loyal members of parliament. If you have Rubongoya, if you have Waiswa, add them to the Senyonyis, loyal. Then you add on but about them, they create circles. Sako omuli muntu Kyaligonza Museveni Rejema babateeka awo. Saako endala omuli Bagada yali Munyoro ne bateeka paka batuuka ku mmwe bakadogo. Hey, I am telling you. Kakati weetaaga be member just bagita in case scenario. What you do funa ba members of parliament obere no more authority massa because ebyobufuzi betugenda okufuna 226 ebibanga mu Uganda. Bino byonna byommadde musaaga mu gundi yali abunte yali because abalya dda balya bbiri. Natandika okumanya abalya mwebwe mbadde mutijja nabo. Natandika okumanya nti balya nga nkola ku ssuuti. Mulokole oyina bwiru. Abalala abazza oluvannyuma mwe mujja bategeera mu 226 oba mu 7 nti balya nga nze nabategeera mu kalulu ka 226. Ate tetwagala basookiriza mmemme tubaleka muleme kunyiiga mpola paka bwe tusuuka bwe tubaagala mpola ogenda okutegeera nti yalya era olumuzi wano nteekayo mutwe ne munvuma ne ngamba kasita nyina TV nyina ne t-shirt. Thank you very much. It ends here. I'm Williams and this is the Williams Broadcast Live.